What's going on? This is Dave Umpris back for another episode of This Might Be a Stupid Question, where we tackle the questions that I hear the most. Talking with probably thousands of people a year, helping hundreds of them buy and sell real estate every year. I hear a lot of the same questions over and over again. So this is a great outlet to talk about those questions, and lots of times other folks around town and around the country are having the same ones. So let's jump into limited service brokerages. I hear the question a lot. What's with these limited service real estate companies? We are, some of the markets that I'm in are some of the hottest sellers markets in the country, and lots of people are looking to save money. There's stuff selling pretty quickly right now, and so lots of these companies are popping up saying, hey, we can help you sell your house still and save some money. And so I don't blame them. And lots of sellers are wondering, is this a good option for me? So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the three biggest problems that we see with these limited service companies, three things to look out for. And so the first one is their model is to use your house, not to sell it. I remember about 5 years ago, I received a call from someone that it was a referral from a contractor that I did some work with. And unfortunately, this lady had been locked into this contract with this limited service company, one of the more common ones in one of my markets. There's about three or four real common ones here in town. And unfortunately, she had been in a contract with them and had asked over and over and over again if she could drop her price. And they kept saying, no, keep your price where it is. It's a good price. Keep it there. Don't drop it. And keep in mind, this is one of the hottest sellers markets in the country. I mean, we had one yesterday that got over 70 showings, 21 offers, sold for significantly over the asking price, and it was a neighborhood record. No price ever this high in this neighborhood. And so this isn't a slow market by any means. So she had been on the market for a long time and asked over and over again to get the price dropped, and they kept saying no. Well, when the contract finally ended and she was able to move on and have us come in and sell it in the first, I think, 2 weeks, week to 2 weeks, we sold it several offers. It was a very easy sell. It's just that this person didn't want to sell it. The agent came to pick up the sign. She had been assigned an agent from one of these limited service companies, and they said, yeah, it's okay that it didn't sell. I actually closed 3 other transactions already just off of the sign calls from your sign in your yard. And that's most of them, that's their plan, is to receive these calls off of the sign in your yard. It sits there for a year. They market their company. They collect buyers. They go make a lot more money on the buyer than they actually make on the sale because they're not charging as much on the sale. And so they can't stay in business if they're not using your house to go create buyers to sell them other houses. And they're making more typically on the ones that they're going to sell them than if they would have sold them your house. And so the first thing you've got to start with is what their model is. And more often than not, their model is to plant a sign in your ground and in your front yard, and then let it sit there and collect buyers off of it. So, and if you look at a lot of the websites, they are designed to collect the attention and capture the lead from your listing so that they can then go sell them something else. Number two, they have to lock you into a long contract because most of the time they need it. I mean, they have no intention of selling a house in the first weekend or first week or 2 weeks like most do in this market. They sign you up for a year-long contract and you're more or less stuck there. And so, some of them do have the ability for you to pay to get out, which is unfortunate, but most of them, they're not letting you out as soon as you sign that 12-month contract. And so, same thing, their model is predicated on this belief that your house is going to sit. And what a lot of people don't realize they need to take into consideration up front is that you are putting your plans on hold for a year most of the time. So some people are buying and selling right now, upsizing or downsizing because where interest rates are. So they're saying, this is a great time. My buyer can pay more for my house. I can have a lower payment on the one that I buy. This is great. Well, you sign with one of these companies and you're essentially putting most of that on hold for a year more often than not because you're just success rate's low. Chances are you're going to wait or it's going to be, given away for significantly less than you could have sold it for. Number three, more often than not, they fail. It's not a high success rate for most of these companies. If you look at the 3 or 4 in some of the markets that my team covers, we see a pretty high failure rate in these companies. I just told you about how quickly things are selling in this particular market. It's one of the hottest sellers markets in the country by most of the articles you read. In the last year, just one of these companies, just looking at one of the common ones here in town, 213 failed sales. So that's 213 times a seller, unfortunately, has bought the lies they're selling, signed the agreement, and then sat for a year until they let them out 213 times. In the hottest sellers market in the country, this is a problem. And I guarantee you those 213 people didn't realize what they were getting into, and unfortunately, they just liked the idea of saving all the money. Bonus number 4, it's going to cost you a lot of money. We did the math on the 4 most common ones here in town, and the difference between the price that they were selling things for and the price that our team is selling things for, it was between 6.3 and 11.1%, a lower sales price with them. That's a lot of money. I mean, you might be doing this to save a 0.5% or a percent less. And unfortunately, you end up losing 5, 6, 10, 11% more in the process. And so, you don't owe these companies anything. You don't owe me anything, but you owe yourself the very best. And you certainly owe yourself understanding your options. So I always tell people, just sit down for 30 minutes with an agent that has a great marketing plan. A majority of that commission should be spent on marketing the house. I forgot the number. It's somewhere between $2,200 and $2,300 per listing that our team is spending marketing that house. Hire an agent that's spending a lot of money on marketing, not marketing them and their business, not marketing the other, getting buyers. People will say our marketing budget is this, and it's really just a buyer lead purchasing program they're in. That's not marketing. Marketing is just getting your house sold for top dollar. Hire somebody that's actually spending money marketing your house, and sit down for 30 minutes to talk about it. If you're in any of the markets I'm in, I'd love to sit down with you. Just shoot me an email, davesoldmyhouse@gmail.com. If you're not in one of my markets, I probably know 1 or 2 great agents in your market. I'll gladly send you some names, but please have the conversation. Please be cautious entering into these contracts with these companies, and understand all your options and understand your outs, and maybe have them carve in some outs that you don't normally have. But more often than not, it's going to be hiring the agent that's going to net you the most, not just cost you the least. So focus on the net. Don't focus on the cost. These companies want to get you to focus just on the cost. And they'll say, you pay that agent 1.5%, you only pay us 1%. And so save a 0.5%, go here. Well, they don't tell you you're going to lose 6.3 to 11.1% in the process. So please understand your options. Shoot me an email, davesoldmyhouse@gmail.com. Thank you for asking that question. It was not a stupid question. It was a great question. And have a great day.